Hey, hi, welcome to my channel with Siva. So today I came with new session. Here we are going to learn. We are going to see. I developed a new Angular application and Web API application. So we are going to see how is it going to work. So this is my Web API solution, which is built in .NET Core. You can see this is properties. This is of version 5 .NET 5 .NET Core 5 version has been used. So this is my application. This is a web API application. So this is having this is the folder structure. So here we have controllers. These are of API controllers. Currently, by default, this is the given. But I what my let's I have integrated with Swagger also. I included a uh, auto mapper, so you can even see that this is my DB context file, and this is my repository class files. So we are basically retrieving about employees. So I'm just clicking to build this solution. So so after building our web API solution, the screen will looks like this. It's a Swagger UI. So when you try to click on this, try it out. When you click execute button, it will display list of employees available from DB. I used SQL Server DB, and using entity framework, we created the tables and the relationships and all. So now currently it is showing up here. So you can see these are all the employees currently with department and address, gender. So this is about we have totally three endpoints. One is employees, and another is employees. In employees, we do have uh, employees and employees slash employee ID. If you pass the employee ID, it will return the exact only one employee. You can even try that out. You just need to pass an employee ID. I'm passing this employee ID here, and when you execute this thing, it will show up the corresponding employee which belongs to this employee ID. So now we have another API endpoint. So we are currently having these three endpoints totally. So let's check out our Angular application. So I built an Angular application of latest version. So I created this Angular application to consume that um, web API. To in order to consume that web API, I made a enable cars here. You can even see that in our controller config file. If you go to the controller web API config startup class, in we have configured the cars method, which will allow which will what it will do is when you try to hit this API endpoint from Angular application browser, that time it will identify this URL is authenticated, and it will allow to access these API methods. So with this enabling cars, Angular application will get the access to this API endpoints, and it will return the employee data. So if you see here, we have mm, Angular application with these components here. Employees, these are the services we have. This is my app module.cs file. I am making use of Angular material as well. These are all Angular material com- uh, Angular material things, and we are importing this Angular. material modules, sorry. So this is my TypeScript file, and this is my HTML. I have created these models. I have created these models like employee model. It will be like an interface. Employee will contain these many fields, and address this contain these many fields. So I am first created these models: employees, address, department, and gender model. And then afterwards, I have created a navigation bar. This is, and one more folder for employee service. We have an employee service here. What it will do is it will call this base API URL. This base API URL is nothing but our API endpoint. This is our API of .NET Core, and this is our Angular application. Angular application is trying to hit this API endpoint. So we are configured this base API URL, and we are calling these methods get employees and get employee by ID inside here by making it as observable, and we are calling this base API URL plus employees. If you want to pass employee ID, you will pass the specific employee ID over here. So let's we have another service, that is gender service, which will display the drop down values, which will call this API URL and will get the gender values from API. Let's coming to our this is our TypeScript file, and this is our CSS files. So this is our employees component. So it will be having a model binding. uh, Data source we have defined here. Data source is there at in let me check this. Yeah, here in the Angular routing module we are passing the employee slash ID. uh, we will be passing the ID. uh, let's check that part. Data source also I want to check, see that this is employees ID, this is gender service, these are models. uh, yeah, here. So we are iterating over our model. Our model is employees model here. It will display all those: first name, last name, date of birth, mobile, department, and edit button also will be there. Angular material we have used, Angular material, and let's check for another file. Mm, yeah, employee component TS, this is important one. So here we will be uh, creating an empty array, and data source is mat table data source of employee type, and paginator is there, sorting is there, pagination we have used, sorting we used, and we are making the displaying columns on page load in the Angular application. These are the columns should display, and edit button should be there. Okay. So on init method we are making use of employee service get employees and subscribing this, and success response we are passing this data API result to this data source mat table resource, and pagination is we are using, and sorting we are making, error we are displaying over here. For same like that way, if you see here view component, we this is for gender. We are not only uh, here we are defining this employee array and gender array. Employee server service constructor on it method we are subscribing, yeah, ID passing. Employee params dot get ID, you will get the ID column and pass it to employee ID, and if that is then again we are subscribing for get employee, then this dot employee success response. You can see that for checking the view employee part. As for gender service also we are using here. So here you can see uh, we are making use of employee directly. For earlier part we used data source. As you've seen here, employee component.html, we use a data source out of employee. um, where is it? Data source is in yeah, here, employee component.csds. So this is our application. Let's go and run this application. Control C. I am using ngser hyphen o means open. So it will compile the application and will display the result in our browser. Angular application can be browsed in mobile devices too. So it's getting built. So it's see here, it compiled successfully. You can see that here. So it's listing. That's I want to browse this in uh, Chrome browser. So I'm going to Chrome. I will give this. So here you can see on page load, Angular application will display the employees result because Web API application is still running. You can see Web API won't be having a UI. We just use Swagger to display in the Swagger UI. So we are calling that Web API endpoint using this Angular application. So that's why you can see here our application is displaying list of application on load get employees. It is showing you can have the, you can even see the pagination and pagination. Let me click on 5. So it will display 5 results per page. If we click 25, it will display 25 results per page. Let's go with 5, and I will click on next page. It will go to the next page. I will click on next page. It will go to the next page. And you can even have the edit method. When you click on the edit method, it will display this is the first name, and this is the last name, and date of birth column, and date picker control, and the email and mobile ID department, and we have an gender of type male and female, and address fields are available here. So on click of go back, it will goes back. I'm still develop a lot of development is pending, like updating update button and creating new employee and deleting the new employee. I'm still going, it's in application development is still in progress. So that's it about today. I will show you next session once I complete coding for update, delete, and deploying this application to Azure as well. I will do the remaining changes, like improving the feature UI as well. So this is about my Angular with Web API application. So I hope you liked it. Just support me if you guys like this, and thank you for this. I'm in the coming lectures I'm gonna explain in detail how to build this application from scratch. I will go and explain you how to uh, build various types of application using Angular and .NET Core Web API. So you can see Angular here. I have first created a models here. First models I created with employee model of these fields, and because employee is having relation with the gender and department and address, that's why I imported those models. This is my department class model and gender model and address model. After creating these models, I created uh, what is that services, that is uh, we I have created employee service first, that is employees emp service.cs. In employee service, I have base API URL I already have because this is my .NET Core Web API. So by calling this base API, I created these methods: get employees and get employee by ID. Employee ID I am passing. So this is has been done. After that, I created a component of view employee, because if you select the employee get employee by ID, it will return only one employee, like edit method. So for that, I created this component using ngg component view employee. It is created this folder structure for me. So inside this, I have uh, this what we call selectors, and uh, this is my sorry, these are by default. So I created this class view employee component. It will have employee id string, okay, and employee id fields, gender field, department, address, and gender list is array. And it will inside the constructor I am injecting this service variable. You know this dependency injection, right? So I am injecting this employee service and gender service, and route is already default one. So here I am employee id I am capturing, and employee, it will call the uh, what do you say, this is a get employee method, and subscribe on success, it will load to this employee object we created like this. And it will load into this success response like this way: gender service to get the gender values, mother, male, female, all those. And in the html class, these are css, and this is my html. I'm closing remaining things to avoid the confusion. In the html file, I will be having go back button, and angular material has been used here. And it will be ng form. Like you see, these are the fields, because it will ng model is nothing but employee type we created in that ts file. Dot first name, dot last name, all these fields will be displayed here, because they are binding with model. And gender list, address, and all this will be displayed here. So coming to the next, what I did is I have uh, in the app component dot c sorry app routing module. In the routing module, we have, this is an important part. We have to make sure this is the path. Employees by id is view employee component. That's it. This is about our current application, as you see here. That's all today. Thank you for this. Hope you liked. Thank you. Next, in the coming sessions, I will, in the live, I will do the development, and I will show you how to develop a web API and Angular and .NET Core applications. Uh, like it's like a end to end. I will try to develop in the live and share with you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.